Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Oceana. You may hear some voices out in the other room because I do have family visiting, but I really wanted to film this video and get this up for you guys. So I'm going to be sharing about all of the new releases in mostly Christian fiction that are coming out from September to December. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a taste of what is on my radar. I read some new releases here and there, but not a ton. So these are the ones that sound interesting that I may pick up if I can, if my library gets them in, if I'm offered them for review. And I'm not including any Christmas books. I'm going to do a totally separate video for Christmas books specifically because I do have a lot on my radar and I'm excited about that. But these are all of the non-Christmas books coming out from September to December that I am interested in. So it's not a ton, but I just wanted to share these with you. Hopefully you've heard of some of these already, and if not, hopefully I can put them on your radar. So let's get into it. First of all, September 2nd is a big release day for a lot of Christian fiction and just other books too. So there's one book that I got for review that I won't have read by the time I need to, There's one book that I got for review that is coming out September 2nd, and it's called The Rules of Falling for You by Mollie Rushmeyer. And this book, I did read the description of it in my September TBR, and I got so excited because it just sounds really good. I think when I first requested it for review, I'd read the description like months ago, and so I totally forgot what it was about. So rereading it was like, this sounds really good. So this is Christian fiction. It is published by... I think it's Bethany House, right? The quick little description is a character named Zoe. She has a podcast and she's going on a Regency themed singles retreat. So she's going to talk about it on her podcast. She brings her podcast producer with her, who's also her best friend's brother. And he thinks that this singles retreat thing is silly, but he also secretly likes her and she likes him, and there's a thing and it's gonna be great. It says, with this Regency infused spin on a contemporary rom-com, Mollie Rushmeyer's witty characters, touch of whimsy, and sweet romance will win hearts. So it sounds really fun. I am really excited to dive into that one. So that is the first one coming out September 2nd, and so it's already out. Check it out if you're interested. Okay, next on September 9th, so the week after, Canyon of Deceit by DiAnn Mills is coming out. I've never read anything by this author, but this description interested me. It says, when wilderness survival expert Therese Palmer receives a frantic phone call from former colleague Professor Rurik Ivanov, she is shocked by the news that this young daughter, she is shocked by the news that his young daughter Alina is missing and that Rurik wants Therese's help finding her. She's sure Rurik hasn't given her the whole story, especially since he refuses to report the kidnapping to the police. Yet with the child's life hanging in the balance, Therese can't turn down this mission. She knows the clock is ticking and she can't do this alone. Therese reaches out to Texas Ranger Blaine Gardner, whom she met 7 months ago during one of her training courses in wilderness survival skills. Blaine's specialized training and background with Crisis Negotiation Unit makes him uniquely prepared for this search and rescue mission. That sounds nice, doesn't it? It says, a thrilling Christian contemporary novel with themes of courage and resilience. Perfect for fans of clean, action-packed romantic suspense. Includes discussion questions for book clubs. Nice. Okay. So yeah, even though I struggled to read that, it does sound interesting. Okay, so that comes out September 9th. I'm going to see if my library will get it in, and I'm going to try to read it. Okay, I forgot a book coming out September 2nd. So it is Meet Me in Virginia by Elizabeth Camden. This is book 1 in Far and Away. So I have not read Elizabeth Camden in a while. There's a whole bunch of her books on my TBR that I'm interested in. She usually writes historical, but this looks contemporary to me, which is why I'm interested. And yeah, it comes out September 2nd. So the little description is, she believes in elegance and tradition. He's all about grit and smashing through obstacles. Together, they're a disaster waiting to happen, or the perfect match. Alice is a professor devoted to the genteel values of Jane Austen's world, has spent her career championing kindness and mannerly comportment in a cutthroat academic environment. These words, you guys. But her dream of elevating Austen's ideals is on the brink of collapse. Her colleagues want her fired, and a scandal threatens to ruin her completely. Oh no. Enter Jack Latimer, a world-renowned golf course architect with zero patience for old world charm. So random. He's brash, bold, and determined to build his masterpiece on a valuable stretch of Virginia property, even if it means demolishing the historic building Alice hopes could save her career. Okay. So there's that. It sounds good, I hope. Elizabeth Camden, I really like her writing style, and she's good at like writing a story and romance, so that's why I'm interested in this one. So yeah, I hope that I can read it, and I hope that it's good. Okay, we're jumping all the way to October 21st, you guys. Okay, so this book, the cover alone makes me want to read it, but I've never read anything by Sara Ella before. So the book is called Glass Across the Sea by Sara Ella. It's Realms of Illumeria, book number 1. Okay, comes out October 21st, comes out. And here we go. Let's read what it's about. Light always finds a way to break free. So this is going to be like fantasy-ish. Noelle Noelle has felt drawn to the tales of her glassmaker father, told of the 4 firefly artisans since she was a child. Okay. But when her mother falls under a curse, Noelle suspects the stories are more than mere fables. Their last hope is for her father to embark on a desperate journey to another realm where he must seek a miracle. Alone but not defenseless, Noelle is forced to navigate battles that rise against her beloved home, while her dearest friend, the prince, vows to help her father. Dante Marin is a prince prepared to bear the crown, but the king offers an ultimatum. Find the fabled firefly vestige, believed to hold the Camplighter's ancient power, or forfeit the crown. See, all these words, you know? We'll see. Only then will Dante be considered worthy of his birthright and given the freedom to choose his bride. But how does one hunt down a legend? Okay. You know, prince, romance, maybe? I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, I've never read anything from Sara Ella, I don't think. So yeah, that was a lot of fantastical words. Sometimes fantasy doesn't work for me if it's more like fantasy than romance, you know. So I don't know, but hey, that cover though, amazing. So some of you might be interested in that. Next is November 4th, Through Each Tomorrow by Gabrielle Meyer. Won't read what it's about because I don't want to be spoiled, because I'm currently, as I'm filming this, currently reading Across the Ages, which is book 4. And Through Each Tomorrow is book 6, I think, right? Because I'm like, yeah, 2 books behind, I guess, technically. And that's fine with me, because then I always have a new book to read in the series when I want to. So yes, Through Each Tomorrow. I really like the cover of this one. It has a dude on the cover, which I think is the first book to do that. So I'm very interested in that, you know? So that's exciting. And then, oh, one more book. Wait, yeah. Okay, that was November 4th. It's coming out. November 18th, which is my birthday, is, let me just look her up, Hearts in Circulation by Sara Monzon. Now, Sara Monzon, we have a love-hate relationship, haven't loved some of her books, but let me just look this up, Circulation, and I think it's the cover and like just the premise that is like, I gotta give this a try, but the first book really didn't do it for me. So Checking Out Love is the series. And do I still have it? Yeah, An Overdue Match right here that I've said I didn't like because the romance fully killed it for me. So yeah, I actually chose not to. So like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there are like review, like influencer lists you can join if you have a large enough following with some publishers. And so I am on Bethany House, or I think it's technically Baker, or maybe it's Bethany. I forget which one, but like it's Baker or Bethany House that is like the Christian publisher, and they send me like a list of books that are coming out in the next couple months and ask me which ones I would like to read. And I just decided not to request Hearts in Circulation because I just don't want another case of an overdue match, you know? So it depends. I'm gonna read what it's about. Maybe I'll be surprised and maybe it'll be okay, but enemies to lovers is not my thing. And I do think that Christian fiction in particular struggles to do it well. And I just am not interested in reading a Christian fiction that's enemies to lovers because it just doesn't make sense. Like, how can you treat someone like that? Like, you can't be true enemies when you're both Christians and supposed to like be a decent person, you know? And so then you don't actually fight. You just like see that you get along, and I don't know. It doesn't work for me. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Okay, Hearts in Circulation though. Like, come on. There's a book cart. There's a bookmobile. It's so fall coated with the colors and the leaves and stuff. So, and this dude, are you kidding me? He's like really tall. So here we go. Little Creek's bookmobile is more of a death trap on wheels than a vehicle of literary delights. And circulation librarian Haley Holt is afraid it's going to careen down a mountainside with her in it. Okay, so that sounds funny. Yet she sees it as a way to serve her community and be worthy of her liver transplant that saved her life as a child. Okay. However, her fears come true when the bookmobile breaks down and a rockslide traps her in the small town of Turkey Grove. Okay, that sounds really great. Reclusive mechanic Levi Redding lives in the tiny Turkey Grove. What kind of name is that? To get away from people. He can handle getting the bookmobile running again, but the endless chatter and unsettling touch from the vibrant librarian leaves him overstimulated. When forced proximity leads to a misunderstanding, a note of apology begins an epistolary friendship, proving that sometimes the happiest of endings aren't contained within the bindings of a book. Okay, so like Grumpy Sunshine, I guess, which also can be annoying in Christian fiction. Because like if he's a Christian, how can you be like that rude to someone? I mean, I know there's Christians that are rude, but I don't want to read about it because that's like not something I want to emulate, and I don't want that in my head, you know? Anyways, so forced proximity though, and epistolary. That doesn't really do it for me, but this sounds cute. Okay, hopefully, I don't know, maybe my library will get it in and I'll read it. We'll see, but it sounds cute, right? So there's that. Those are all of the books. The rest are all Christmas books, and I don't want to talk about them in this video. I will have a whole separate video coming sometime in September or October talking about Christmas. Okay, because I am feeling, oh, also I was sitting on my feet that whole time. Ouch. I am feeling the festive vibes already. So I'm pretty excited about that. But for now, those are all of the non-festive books that I'm looking to read or just, you know, keep track of to see what other people are saying about these books. If you have heard of these or if you've read from these authors, let me know. Is there a chance I could like these books? Sarah Ella in particular, could I like her books? I don't know. I think back in the day, she has a book called Coral. Is that a Little Mermaid retelling? I think I tried to start it and it was so boring. So that's what I'm worried about, that her books are boring to me, you know? So let me know though. Okay, that's everything, guys. I hope that this was entertaining and like helpful in some way. I'll write all of the books down below with their release date. And if you want to pre-order any of these books, if you live in America, most of these you can pre-order for a pretty amazing deal compared to Canada. Okay, so us poor Canadians, use your libraries, okay? And I mean, if you have a Christian bookstore, yes, but man, those prices though. Like $20 for a book, $25 for a book, $30 for a book. No, I can't do it. So, you know, we gotta wait for those deals and use the library. So anyways, I'll put some things down below for you. And if you want to watch my September TBR, I'll link it down below because I do talk about some other books that I'm reading this month that aren't like new releases from these months, but from like previous months. Okay. Anyways, thank you for watching again. I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye. Zoe is on a singles retreat that's Regency themed. And she's bringing her photographer with her because she's kind of like a influencer. And she brings her photographer and he thinks it's kind of silly, or podcast producer. I should probably get this right, you know?